video today that is really going to help you to get centered on what it is that you want and to help to create the life you want in the areas that you want. So I'm really excited. Are you guys excited? Yeah. Yes. So my name is Krista, for those of you who don't know me, and I thought I'd just take a couple of minutes and tell you a little bit about myself and my journey. So, just so we can get to know each other a little bit better. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. So about 20 years ago, I met my first spiritual teacher. Her name was Linda, and she was this amazing, still is, this amazing clairvoyant. And I met her at a time in my life when I was very unhappy, which is interesting that all of the spiritual teachers that I've met have come at a pivotal point in my life. And you might even have that same situation or scenario come up. The teacher arrives when the student is ready, that kind of thing. So when I met Linda, she taught me meditation. She taught me chakra meditation. And we did this very esoteric meditation where we focused on the heart, the throat, the third eye, the crown, and then there's a chakra, the higher self. And it was wonderful. It really helped to change my life, just learning how to meditate and how to visualize and how to feel more connected to myself. And the way Linda taught me was in a very Eastern way. She never said, okay, we're going to do this, this, and this. She didn't teach the way I teach. It was more, I would come to her with questions. I would say, Linda, what's the next book do you think that I should read? Can we meditate today? Or sometimes she would suggest meditation. And it was transformative, that time in my life. Then I got married and I met another teacher who was a shamanic practitioner. And I deepened my feeling or my sense of connectedness to other ways of being and it got more connected to my spirit guides and just learned different ways of reading energy. And I learned about soul retrieval. And soul retrieval was another pivotal point in my life. This is my daughter Brooke. Brooke was probably 6 months old. And it was very difficult for me being a new mom, having been so independent and then being at home with an infant all day. And so we would do soul retrieval. And soul retrieval, what that means is when something traumatic happens in this lifetime or maybe another lifetime, you lose a piece of yourself. And so the shaman's job is to go back and to reunite that part of yourself with the self that you are now. And that was an amazing thing. Then I started studying yoga in depth. And I went back to school and I wanted to be an academic. I studied religion. And yoga taught me how to breathe, how to be in my body. It taught me how to breathe when things were difficult. It helped me to connect with the parts of my body that I had been ignoring. And it was interesting because there was one class that I'll never forget it, and we did Shavasana, which is a guided meditation. I relaxed the top of my head. I relaxed my forehead. I relaxed my eyes. And by the time we were through, I remember I had never felt more relaxed in my life, ever. It was such an amazing gift to feel that deep sense of relaxation. So then fast forward, I met another teacher and yet another teacher. And so part of the way I teach is a combination of all the things that I had learned. A little bit of the shamanism, a little bit of the esoteric, and a lot of the yoga, a lot of getting really in tune with what's happening inside your body in this moment. And I went from, this is my personal feeling of my journey, you don't have to believe it, but rather than thinking that spirit was out here and that I had to be on some galactic thing out here, which is fine, there's nothing wrong with that, I found that everything I need is actually right here. And that the greatest mystery is understanding myself. And whenever I have a challenge, I think, ooh, so this is an opportunity for me to know more about myself. Does that make sense? So part of what you're learning came out of a conflict that I was having, and I had a deep intuition at probably 1 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Day. But before we get started on the formula, I want to set the stage. Is that okay? So we'll talk a little bit about how this is going to work and why it's going to work. Usually the first thing I ask my students is, what do you want? Whenever I teach meditation. I do teach meditation, by the way. And most people look up and they don't know what it is that they want. And what you want is so important because it is the key to manifesting. But here's the thing. People don't get in tune with what it is that they really want. What they do is they say what they think they should want. And that is very different. That does not really allow for your unique brilliance to shine and to flow because you're not living your truth. You're not in tune with what it is that me as an individual, that is, I am unlike anybody else on the planet. What is it that I want? So one of the keys to manifesting is understanding that manifestation is play. And I think sometimes we take it too seriously. I know I do sometimes. I take it way too seriously. I got to manifest this, I have to manifest this. And then I forget that it's really about play. It's really about me having fun and enjoying being here on this plane. And at the same time, discovering more about myself, because that's fun too, that inner journey. So we want to be in tune with what is it that I really want versus what is it that I think I should want. And there's a lot of cultural stuff, cultural things that come into play. We don't give ourselves permission to want what it is that we really want. Would you agree with that? Yeah. We're afraid of it. But imagine if everybody really got in tune with what it is that they really wanted. And what if they were able to manifest that? What would the world be like? Don't you think? It would be so much happier. What would that be like in your own personal life? If you were really in tune and you were really connected to what it is that you really wanted to create now, what would that feel like? Freedom, amazing. Everybody take a deep breath. Let's uncross our legs. Everybody, we're all like this. We're manifesting. We want to relax and we're going to let it flow. Is that okay? So how do you know, because this is where people get stuck too, how do you know that what it is that you really want is a heart desire or maybe it's something that I shouldn't want? Because sometimes people think, well, what if what I want isn't good for somebody else, right? So there's this idea it's good for me, it's good for you, it's good for the world. But I want to take it back. I'm going to make it a little bit more simple because oftentimes what you really want may not on the surface look like it's good for everybody else. And I think for women, this is a particular challenge because the culture tells us that we have to want and behave in a certain way. And that blocks our natural flow of feminine creative energy, not just for us, but for the men in our lives as well. So how do you know if what you want is your heart's desire? The ego, okay, so for me, I'm not a psychologist. There's nothing wrong with psychology, but I'm just not a psychologist. The ego is a condition of separation. That's what it is. The more separated I am from my sense of self, from my authentic self, the more ego I demonstrate, the more ego I have. So somebody who acts crazy, right, and they harm other people, they're obviously not in tune with their self. So ego is a matter of degrees. The closer I am to the nature of myself, the less egoic energy I tend to display. Does this make sense? Okay. So the ego wants three things, or it arises out of three conditions. One is immortality. It's this little triangle here. You have to like squint, or if you're older like me, you might have to do this to really get a good look at it. Immortality. The ego is fearful of change. The ego is fearful of death. So it's always looking for security and permanence in the world. Okay? The ego wants power. And what I mean by that is that need to be right, that need to control, the need to control my environment. That's another egoic desire. The other one is love, but the need for approval, the need to be loved by other people in an imbalanced way. What the ego doesn't realize when we're in this egoic consciousness is that we already have all of those things right here, right where we are. You have the perfect blueprint for love, for power, and you are, in fact, immortal. Change is just part of the physical condition, but who you are does not change. It just expands, and it has new experiences, you and me. Does this make sense? So when you're thinking about your heart's desire, what it is that I really, really want, ask yourself what your intention is. If it's for power, it's because I want to be right. And let me tell you something, I love to be right. You know, I mean, it just feels good sometimes when you're really, really right. But ask yourself, do I want this because I want to be right? Do I want this because I want more security and I feel insecure and I'm afraid of change? Do I want this because I need approval? I call myself a recovering people pleaser, you know, because I want to please people all the time at my own expense. So if the answer is yes to any of these three questions, then you know you have to go deeper into your desire. I know, right? You're laughing. You're like, it's all of them. This is all, I want all of these. This is why I want anything. It's for approval. It's for it to be right. It's for power. Yeah, I know. I don't want any change. I want everything to stay just the same. I know. It's everybody. So what does that mean? It means that you have to go deeper, that there's something else that you're yearning for and that you really want. Is that okay? Is that helpful? Yeah? It's helpful for me. I like it. It's good stuff, right? Yeah. All right. So manifestation is play. So this is the circle that I talk a lot about in class. What you believe affects your thinking and your feeling. Can we agree with that? Your thinking and your feeling affects your actions. So if I'm feeling angry and I go home, but I'm not really tuned in to the anger, I've stuffed it, and I go home and then maybe my kids come up and go, mommy, 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 mommy. I'm going to explode. Thank you. I know. I know. It happens. It happens to all of us. Okay. So my thinking and my feelings affect my actions, and then that explosion affects the environment of my home. Yes? So what if that went on for long periods of time? What would the energy of my home be like? Right. What would the quality of my relationships be like? Very negative, right? My environment then will reinforce my beliefs. So the negative thinking and the feeling comes from a belief that we carry. And the belief, that's a whole other class. We can talk about where the beliefs come from. But let's say that in my belief system, I feel that my relationships don't work. But I'm angry and I have all this and I act crazy, but I'm not conscious of it because I act unconsciously. I'm actually blaming the children or I'm blaming my spouse for my behavior. I'm not taking responsibility for that. And then it affects my environment, and then my environment says, see, this relationship isn't working. And then it starts all over again. So on one level, this is the cycle of samsara. It's the cycle of suffering when you don't understand it. But here's the good news. Can I give you the good news? Because the good news is this is also the cycle of creation when you understand it. This is why manifestation works. It's when you get your thoughts and your feelings on board, and when you act in accordance with them, and your environment begins to shift, because let's face it, we need proof that these things are working. But in the meantime, we have to have faith, right? We still have to kind of walk that road and just know, well, I'm feeling better, and my environment is shifting a little bit. And then that shift in my environment is going to shift everything else. It's going to shift the beliefs in accordance. Because we all have that feeling where I know what it is I really want, but I don't really believe that I can have it. So when you step outside yourself and you say, this is the cycle of creation, and I can jump in at any point here. It's very difficult to work on your beliefs sometimes if you're not really sure what they are. Sometimes it's difficult to hear your thoughts, but it's not too difficult to know how you're feeling or how you're acting in your environment. So you might say, yelling at my kids is not working for me. I know that's creating negativity in my environment, but I don't want to suppress it. I understand that it's part of the cycle of creation, and I want to create something new in my environment. So I'm going to act differently. That is very different than just trying to use your willpower to stuff the anger. It's an understanding that my behavior is not working to create the environment that I want. Does this make sense? It's very, very powerful. So it requires you to stand outside and to look. And when you're standing outside and you're watching, you are yourself. You are the observer. You are the watcher. In that moment, when you see this, even if it's operating for you or against you, when you see it, you are in an enlightened state in that moment. And then we get lost. And then we step outside and we're enlightened in that moment. Isn't that amazing? Because everybody thinks enlightenment is this permanent place that you're going to get to, and it's going to be like, oh, all the time, you know? But really, it's these moments, and each moment can build on each other so that you're standing outside and you're watching and you're creating and you're playing more often than not. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So real quick, when you step outside, is that when you're your higher self?
Yeah, you're your higher self. You're in your source. You're your authentic self, however you want to say it. And you're like, oh, I can see how this is acting. I was talking to someone yesterday, and it's interesting sometimes when you watch people tell their story over and over and over again, and I can see the cycle going over and over and over and over again. But I was standing outside watching. So sometimes when you hear your friends tell their story, their, poor me story over and over and over again, the best way to help them is not to give them advice, but to observe and to know it's just your mind, you're just stuck. But I know who you are. And you just observe and you nod and you breathe, because nobody wants your opinion anyway, let's just face it. They don't. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say. That's true.
And then you say you're a bad guy.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you say. So just observe and breathe, and they'll say, why are you so quiet, right? Then they'll start yelling at you. But that's their problem. It's not yours. So, so does this make sense? Okay, so we understand this is the cycle of creation, and we're going to use it for our good, yeah? Yes? Yes! Yes, we're good to do it. Yeah, that's enlightenment. That's my enlightenment self singing. Okay, so I was going to bring my manifestation journal, but I left it at home. Oh, so we'll just have to talk through it. I won't be able to show you. So the formula for manifestation, you ready? What time is it? Did I go? Oh, no. Okay, I'm confused. I'm okay now. Okay. So you're going to buy a journal or do a journal online, and you're going to make a manifestation journal. On the front page, you're going to list the areas that you want to co-create, something that you want to change, okay, make positive. And you're going to write down 3 key words that describe each area. So you're going to do this first. So I gave you an example: personal, spiritual, relationships, that's romantic relationships, friendship relationships, body, family, creativity, home, joy, special project, work, career. Those are some suggestions. That's what I've used, but you may want to add some or change it a little bit. Okay, so you're going to put that in the front cover, and then you're going to have 3 words that describe what that is to you, because what personal is for me is different than what it is for you, and you need to define what it is for you. So personal is sexy, stylish, successful. That's fun. Spiritual, connected, soulful, alive. Relationships, connected, loving, passionate. So what are we talking about? I'm not writing about things yet. Have you noticed that? I'm writing about feeling, because things are the result of my thinking and my feeling and my doing. Yes? And my believing. So I'm writing about what is it going to feel like when I'm my ideal self. I'm going to feel sexy, and I'm going to be stylish, and I'm going to feel successful. What does it feel like when I'm in spiritual, when I'm going to feel connected. I'm going to feel connected. I'm going to feel soulful. I'm going to feel alive, full of joy. What is it going to feel like when I'm in my ideal relationship? Connected, loving, passionate. Does this make sense? Now you're going to give each area a section in your journal. And then you're going to further describe. So I really suggest you write this all out. You write this out for yourself on the first page, and then you pick one area, because it's a lot of work, but it's good stuff. Okay, I promise. And you're going to further define what each section means. So under personal, I wrote personal, it's all about me, my needs, my desires for myself. Personal for you might be something else. Then I define what successful means. Successful for you and successful for me mean 2 different things. The full and complete manifestation of my purpose on this plane evidenced by thriving in my work. They might be like, I don't know what that means, and that's not what success means to me. Success means something else. It feels like something else. That's fine. That's why you need to define it. You guys following me? Then, just like you would a vision board, but this is not a vision board. There's a secret to this. You're going to find pictures that represent what you want in each section. So for personal, I would have a picture of success, of what that looks like to me. but it has to be referential to what it is that it looks like to me. Relationships. What does that look like, feel like to you? So you don't want any old picture. You want to find a picture that when you look at it, you go, oh, yeah, that's it. Does that make sense?
Defines exactly what you want.
Yeah, that defines exactly what you want. So every journal is going to be different. Yeah.
I have a question. So if I see, let's say I find a picture of a woman who looks successful to
Yes.
me, is
Yes.
that okay that she's somebody different from
Oh, absolutely. Because it's the feeling, right? It's the thinking and the feeling that you want. You're like, yeah. Okay? You want to feel, yeah. Just like that. Yeah. All right. Then you're going to write a letter to the universe, Abraham, spirit, your higher self, I don't care, thanking them for your abundance. And this should be done in each section. This is the secret sauce, okay? So, for example, under success, dear universe, I am so grateful that my business grew 12% over the previous year. Do you see how specific that is? Now I'm getting specific. With the extra money, we were able to invest in new equipment and hire a new employee. I am so grateful that this was done with grace and ease. So you're writing to the universe a letter as if it had already happened. Okay, so this is something that I didn't write on here. So you want to give yourself a time frame for manifestation. So if it's successful, as an example, you want to put 12, 18 months, 6 months, whatever it is. You want to make it reasonable, but you don't want it to just be indefinite and just be out there. You have to be successful. You have to be specific. Does this make sense? Exactly. It's just this ongoing thing of a nebulous kind of success. I don't know what it is, and I don't know when I'm going to get there. So it's very important. Okay? So you have the time frame. You're going to write a letter as if it already happened. Now, here are the rules. This is the big thing. Do not share what you have created for more than 30 days with anyone. This is so important. And the reason is because when you connect to your heart's desire, it's like, yeah, ooh, maybe I shouldn't want that. Maybe that's not okay for me to have that. Unconsciously, you seek out people who will affirm your doubt. Haven't you ever wanted something and then you said, I really want to do this, and then someone goes, why would you do that?
Yeah,
Stupid.
all the time.
Yeah, right? It's like, what were you thinking? What are you going to do with your kids? Yeah. Yeah. You want to sail around the world, but what are you going to do with your baby? You can't do that. It's like, damn.
Avoiding the naysayers.
Avoiding, because you're not avoiding the naysayers. It's you wanting to affirm your doubt, because there's a part of every single one of us that's afraid of change and really afraid of the responsibility of getting what we want. Do you guys understand that? There's a lot of responsibility that comes with getting what you want. And it's like, do I want all the other, because now if I'm going to take a trip around the world, then I got to book somebody, I got to find a babysitter, I got to do all this other stuff, and then you start to talk yourself out of it. So we want people to affirm our doubt, and then we say, oh, that was a stupid dream anyway. And then we wind up stuck, and we're back in the cycle of samsara. Yes? This gives your desire time to take root. So you're planting a seed. You will go through your journal twice a day and read your letters to the universe twice a day. You will have fits of doubt. I have done this. There will be a part of me that's like, I am crazy. I can't do this. What is wrong with me? And you will go back to your journal and you will read it. And you will get reconnected with what it is that you want, because you're changing a pattern of behavior. You can have anything that you desire. Do you know that? You really, really can. But we have to change our pattern of thinking and feeling and being in the world in order for that to happen. So this is what this is. That's what the magic is. It's so hard because you want to tell everybody. But you're not going to. You're going to read your journal to yourself. Then, after 30 days, you may share. If you want to. You might not want to share. You might feel so good, and it's going to be so deeply rooted, and you will be living as if that thing already is after 30 days. And I promise, you're going to feel as if you already have it. I am already successful. And the seed begins to plant, and the people that are meant to be with you start to come out of the woodwork. It is incredible. It works. You guys with me? You guys going to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, sort of, we've kind of already been sort of talking about this,
Mhm.
and I made a decision to make a career change.
Good.
I told only a couple of people, and the people I told were the people I knew that would be supportive.
Okay.
The other people, I just kept it to myself and just went about doing the things that I needed to do. So I had no idea. I just have to work on the journal part.
Yeah. So intuitively you were doing the right things for yourself because this is a change that you really want to make.
Right.
So that's good. So will you try it? You're going to try it? Oh, yeah.
Try it.
Okay. Good.
Definitely.
So will everybody try it?
Is this a special journal, or can you?
You can use anything, any book. You can do it online even. And I'd love to hear from you. My email is here. So email me and let me know how it's going. Don't tell me what you're manifesting though. You can't tell me. No, but still don't tell me. That's not the point. The point is this is about you getting in tune with the blocks and making those changes. But say it's going really well, or I'm having some doubt, and I'll just email you. We'll just breathe and keep doing it. But let me know how it's going. It's k.magidson@yahoo.com. k.magidson@yahoo.com. That's my secret sauce. Thank you, guys.
Kind of further define what you want to manifest. I mean, is
Yeah.
something you update?
Yeah, you update it. Yeah, I've crossed stuff out because I'm like, that's not really what I want. And I cross it out and then I rewrite it. Sure. Yeah, and it should be messy. It's going to be messy because it's going to change and shift. And then you move on to each section as you feel guided to do that. But do one section first because it is a lot, and it might take you a weekend to really fill it all out, just that one section.
You're talking about personal.
Like personal as an example. Yeah, or relationships or whatever. Just do one because you have to write the letter and really, really think about and connect with what is it going to feel like? What does that feel like to me?
And the more detailed, the better, obviously.
Yeah, the more detailed, the better. And it will get more and more detailed as you go on. The thing that you want starts to come into clearer focus, which is why you're going to want to scratch some stuff out and add some things in. So you might go, I want my business to be successful, but what does that mean? Well, 12% growth would be great. 1% growth would be great. $250,000 more would be great. So what is that for you? Yeah. Isn't it fun? You can do it. I'm so excited. All right. I think, is our time up? Our time is up. But I'll be around if you guys want to ask more questions. Okay? Yay!
Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you. It is great. I know. I've been